folks, one day means let's go.
Jumbo, everyone, and welcome to Kilimanjaro Safaris. In order to keep your wait time to a minimum, we have...
Back here, the Princess Me, welcome aboard. So, welcome aboard. Make sure you're sitting all the way down to the left-hand side of the truck.
I did take pictures of the rims. The rims are really weird.
Might use them in our prototype.
I think they were, I know they were maybe having some tire issues because some of them have bigger tires. Yeah.
Alright, my friends on the right-hand side of the truck, please put your hands, arms, feet, and legs so those doors will be sliding shut.
I've never done what you do, but can you get me a job doing it?
Asante is on a word, which does mean thank you. Here in Swahili, another word we like to say in Harambe is twinte, which means let's go. Now, Jumbo friends, welcome aboard. My name is Matt. I'm originally from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Now, I'm going to be a safari guide out here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Before we do head into the reserve this afternoon, we do have a quick few safety reminders to go over. Make sure you're keeping all hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times. Everybody is remaining fully seated throughout our journey. Now, those little ones can sit on adults' lap if we do have any on board. But no holding those little ones up in the air like Simba. It is for your safety and the safety of the animals. Now we will be heading into Little Aturi Forest to start our journey. Now Aturi in Swahili does mean little, so we're actually going to be heading into the little forest.
Yeah.
Now as we do get ready to head into the animals' homes and their environments, just a quick friendly reminder, no shouting or calling out to any animals that you may see out here on the reserve. We are entering their homes and their environments, and we do want to be respectful guests this afternoon. This does include animal noises, whistling, clapping, and yelling. Again, we just want to be respectful guests in their environments. Looks like the warden has given us the green light to head on in. So again, we will be starting our journey by heading into Little Aturi Forest. Now here in the forest, we're going to find some animals that like to remain a little bit reclusive, maybe use their coats as camouflage. So let's go see what we can find.
I was like, is that real? I don't know what it is.
Now you might notice kind of that darker brown colored animal hanging out in between those bamboo trees to the right hand side. Those are okapi. Now okapi, they're going to have those striped legs that you see, leading most people to believe that they are related to zebras. But they are not. Due to their similar skull-like structure and their prehensile tongue, they're actually going to be closely related to giraffes. Now, just to the left-hand side, this kind of orange and brown-colored animal, that is a bongo. Now, you might notice the bongo's horns are kind of set further back on their skull, rather than straight up and down. That is so when they are running through low branches and low clearance items here in their forests, their horns won't get caught on anything, causing themselves to become injured. Now those bongo do have those white stripes that kind of run along their rib cage. Those white stripes will help them blend into bushes and thickets here in the forest, giving them an extra layer of protection. The black and white bird to the right hand side, those are saddle-billed storks. In fact, that is the female coming down towards the truck. The way we can tell female and male saddle-billed storks apart is simply by the color of their eye. That female is going to have a bright neon yellow colored eye, and the male is going to have a more reddish colored eye. Now across the creek to the left-hand side, gonna get to see the black rhino. Black rhino is going to be the smallest species of rhino here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, only weighing about 3,000 pounds at full adulthood. Now here to the right-hand side, on the very tip top of that hill, you might be able to see that tannish gray-colored animal. Well, that is a greater kudu. Just like the bongo, they have those stripes along their rib cage and their belly that will help protect them against danger. Now that was a female greater kudu that you saw because she does not have big spirally horns on the tip top of her head. Now the male greater kudu do. the greater hoot are also going to be one of the taller horse antelope, getting to be about 55 inches at the shoulder. Now you may notice on the animal spotting guide how there are 2 rhinos listed, the black and the white rhino. Well, a lot of people do believe that the main difference between those 2 is their color. Well, it's actually not. They are both going to be gray in color. The only difference between black and white rhinos is simply the shape of their mouth. Black rhinos are going to be a little bit, going to have more of that prehensile upper lip, giving them more of a curve-shaped mouth. And white rhinos that we may get to see a little bit later on in our journey are going to have more of a square, wide brim-shaped mouth. Now we're making our way out of the forest and down towards the river. Now this is specifically Safi River. Safi River is home to aquatic animals. They either live in the water or just next to it. First animal you're going to see here in Safi River is that white and gray pelican. Well, that is the pinked-back pelican. Now, the pinked-back pelican gets its name from the pink patch of feathers that will hide underneath its wings, kind of along their spine. That pink patch of feathers will become more brighter and more vibrant when mating season is occurring. Now, the pink-backed pelican, also the oldest known species of pelican. They're going to have fossils dating back nearly 400 million years. You might see this kind of grayish-brown colored shadow here to the left-hand side. What is a Nile hippopotamus? Now, Nile hippos can hold their breath for about 8 minutes at a time. So sometimes it is very rare to see a hippo out of water.
Oh, there's another one right there.
Now, hippos have kind of adapted to the way that they live in the water. Their eyes, nostrils, and ears all do sit on the very tip-top of their skull. That way they can simply poke their head out of the water to see, hear, and smell everything that is going on around them, rather than becoming a hippo out of water. Friends, remember those little ones do need to remain fully seated. They cannot be standing on an adult's lap.
This must be all the like VIP, but you like walk across all this stuff.
I don't know if I could do that. I could, but
the last animal we're going to see here in Safi River is going to be the Nile crocodile.
Oh yeah, you can see a big one down there.
15 to 20 feet in length at full adulthood. They're also going to weigh about 500 pounds on average. For this Nile crocodile, they love to protect their own. Whenever there is any danger nearby, those adult crocodiles will scoop up their young into their mouth and their jaw, kind of incubating them there, making sure they are staying nice and well protected. Trees do start to open up around us, we will be heading into the savanna. Savanna is the largest ecosystem here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, as well as in Africa. Before we officially head into the savanna, everybody take a look to your right-hand side. You're going to see that upside-down, barren-looking tree. Well, that is a baobab tree. Now, a baobab tree's main goal out here on the savanna is to provide the animals with enough hydration as possible. Now, I know it may not look like it, but inside of that baobab tree are hundreds of gallons of water that the animals do have access to by simply poking a hole into the bark and the barrel of that baobab tree and drinking out any water that they may need. Now, a baobab tree is going to be leafless about 9 months out of the year. That is just because it's trying to maximize its water storage. Now, another name for that baobab tree is the tree of life. Our friends, off to the right-hand side, you're going to see that black and white animal. That is a Hartman Mountain zebra. The Hartman Mountain zebras are going to be one of the smallest, if not the smallest, species of zebra. But that is due to the fact that their hooves are the smallest, but they are the only zebra species that can climb mountains and rougher terrain. Now, zebras overall as a species are going to be very friendly and social. They're going to live and travel in herds known as dazzles. They're also going to have stripe patterns unique to each zebra, just like our human fingerprints, and they can actually tell each other apart based on whose stripe pattern is whose.
this is first there.
Now, just over there to the left-hand side in that back corner, might be see the pack of African painted dogs. Now, African painted dogs are going to be the savannas, one of the savanna's most successful hunter due to how they hunt in their pack-like mentalities. They can actually outrun their prey by about 3 miles. They might have seen that antelope just off to the right-hand side of the truck. That was an eland. Now, elands can get to be about 6 feet at the shoulder. They can also jump about 6 feet high. Now, there to the left-hand side, that reddish-brown colored animal, that is a sable antelope. Now, sable antelope's horns are going to be curved towards their spine and their back, helping protect them if any danger were to arise. Now, you might notice these rust-colored structures kind of scattered throughout the savanna. Well, these are termite mountains. Now, termite mountains are going to be made up of dung, red clay, and water. And when that mixture is fully hardened, it's going to be almost as strong and as hard as concrete. Main goal out here on the savanna is to provide the animals with a scratching post. Now, this is the female eland you see here to the right-hand side. What you can tell them apart from males is going to be the coloration of their coat. They're going to be a little bit darker. Those males will be a little bit lighter. Those females will also be relatively smaller in size.
There's a zebra way over there.
We've already seen an abundance of animals here on the savanna, but the majority of them can live in harmony with one another, meaning that they can be neighbors, just like you can kind of see them all roaming and herding about here on the savanna. Now you're going to see two different animals to the right-hand side. We're going to see that kind of almost tan white colored one just off to the right-hand side. That is a springbok. Now springboks can jump about 6 feet high and 13 feet long. The springbok get their name from kind of the springing, rocking motion they will make when they are jumping throughout the air. You might notice that gray animal just in the brink of the big old tree bushes to the right-hand side. Well, those are wildebeest. Now, wildebeest will travel and live in herds known as confusions. They're going to live in herds known as confusions. Once a year, those wildebeest will participate in what is known as the wildebeest Great Migration. That wildebeest Great Migration will take them about 1,000 miles across the plains of the African savanna. During that journey, they can go about 5 days without any water. Now, their bodies are meant to sustain that amount of time without any hydration. Onto the left-hand side, where it looks like we're going to have a tower or a group of Maasai giraffe. A Maasai giraffe can get to be about 15 to 20 feet tall at full adulthood.
He's reaching.
Now, newborn Maasai giraffe calf will be 6 feet right at birth. Those newborn calf will also have about a 6-foot free fall to the ground because female giraffe will give birth standing up. They will also be able to walk, run, and stand within the first few hours of birth, giving them that sense of independence and individuality, making sure that they can protect themselves if any danger were to arise.
He's like posing.
They might notice this. My friends, you might notice that this broken down tree here to the right-hand side, well, this is an indicator we may be getting close to some elephants. Elephants will wrap their barrel or their trunk around the barrel of a tree and kind of break it in half just like you see there, or kick it over with their really strong feet to get the food and the nutrients on the inside of the tree. Looks like I don't see any right now, but let's make our way a little bit further through. You might see that mandrill monkey off to the left-hand side. Well, that is going to be a female. Mandrill monkeys are going to be Africa's largest species of monkey. Those females are going to weigh about 50 pounds at full adulthood. The males can get upwards of about 100 pounds.
Boy, I'm getting ready.
Well, looks like I do see an African elephant just through the break and the clay over there to the right-hand side. Now, African elephants get their name from the shape of their ears. When their ears are fanned out, they weigh out, they kind of do resemble the continent of Africa. Now, inside of an elephant's ears are hundreds of blood vessels that will help regulate their body temperature when they flap them, almost as if they are fanning themselves from the inside out. Now, most people are aware that the main danger that faces African elephants out in the wild is going to be due to illegal poaching for their ivory tusks. But there is another human-elephant conflict that does stem from the dangerous mining practices of a metallic ore. This metallic ore is used to carry things such as radios, tablets, and cell phones. The mining practices for this ore do release very harsh toxins out into the living environments of those African elephants, making it really hard for them to breathe in sustainable and clean air. So by recycling your electronic devices at the end of their lifespan, you're giving those African elephants a better chance of survival out in the wild. Now, elephants on their own can live upwards of about 40 years, so we want to be able to give them the chance to do so. In case you didn't know, animals, they cannot speak up for themselves, so us as humans are going to be their biggest advocates and their biggest supporters. Like so, we do have a few more African elephants off to the left-hand side. Now you might notice on this African elephant that is a little bit closer to the truck. You might see how they have some water sprayed up onto their back and their neck. Well, that is another way that they try to protect themselves, especially during these warmer summer months. Elephants do have very sensitive skin, so from time to time they will pick up sand or water into their trunks and then spray it along their backs and their necks. The sand or water will act as a natural sunscreen or moisturizer, helping protect that sensitive skin. We're going to see two more baobab trees here to the right-hand side, but I specifically want to talk about the second one we're going to see. You might notice all those irregular shapes and circles in the bark of that baobab tree. Well, those are those puncture holes of how those animals have gotten access to the water stored on the inside of that baobab tree. Do reach full adulthood, roughly about 13 to 16 years old, they will be kicked out by the females in the matriarchies or family herds, kind of given that good old boot, scoot, and boogie. They're going to go off and form their own herds known as bachelor herds, or they may remain a little bit solitary. Now, just off to the left-hand side, kind of hanging out on the hidden Mickey Island, is going to be the group or flamboyance of greater flamingos. Now, greater flamingos are going to be the lightest shade of flamingo. That is due to the fact they're not naturally born with pink feathers. In fact, their feathers will become pinker over time due to the amount of shrimp that they will consume. There is a protein in shrimp known as beta-carotene. Beta-carotene will kind of dye their feathers from the inside out. This is only for about the first 2 years of their life, though. Now, it looks like coming up on the left-hand side, you're going to get to see the group or crash of white rhinos.
Oh, wow.
As you can see, that one is just taking a swim right in that mud wallow. Well, they will use that mud wallow like a swimming pool or a splash pad. They'll roll around in that mud, coating their gray skin with that orangey brown substance. Just like those African elephants, they do have very sensitive skin, but instead of that mud acting like a moisturizer or a sunscreen, they actually act as a natural bug repellent or coolant. Remember when we saw that black rhino at the beginning of their journey? Main difference between these guys are that they're going to have more of that square, rimmed mouth, while those black rhinos have that curve-shaped mouth. Well, these white rhinos also super much bigger in size, upwards of about 5,000 pounds at full adulthood. Let's keep our eyes peeled to the left-hand side. We may be able to spot a cheetah or two. Now, cheetahs, they can run incredibly fast, anywhere upwards of about 16 miles per hour in just under 3 seconds. But they can run this fast with help from their non-retractable claws, meaning that their claws are out 24/7, helping them dig into the ground, have a little better traction and agility.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like blended perfectly.
Now, they're not going to be able to maintain that top speed of 16 miles per hour for too long, only for a few hundred meters. Then they're going to drop down to about 45 miles per hour. Now, those cheetahs can run so fast. In fact, that one time the Guinness Book of World Records did clock them running about 72 miles per hour. Now, those cheetahs do have, oh look, right here, hanging out to the left-hand side, kind of in these trees, you're going to see that water buck. Now, water buck's skin is going to secrete an oily substance, leaving them almost waterproof to the touch, no matter if they just got caught in a rainstorm or took a swim in the local watering hole. Now, those water bucks are going to be one of the only animals on the savannah that does not migrate. That is because they like to situate themselves around bodies of waters bodies of water or watering holes. They will use that water as a protection tactic. Big predators or big cats like lions, not the biggest fans of bodies of water. In fact, they're actually kind of scaredy cats of it. So they will walk themselves out into water when they know those predators are around because they know they will be safe. Yeah. Now, like I was saying about those cheetahs, they have those bodies full of spots, roughly 2,000 spots on each cheetah's coat. They will use those spots to help them blend in, but also on their coats is 2 stripes most people are not aware of. These stripes do run from the bottom of their eyelid all the way down their snout to the tip top of their nose. Now those stripes will be used as sunglasses or eyeball, helping protect those animals or those cheetahs against the harsh rays of the Savannah sun.
I think I saw him come out this year like 50 years ago.
My friends, off to the left-hand side, you're going to see those warthogs. Now those warthogs are going to be the world's largest burrowing mammal. They will take pre-existing burrows and enlarge them to fit their body shape and size. Now they're going to live in those new burrows, helping protect them against natural elements like the weather, as well as predatory elements. And you'll see a few more of those white rhinos just to the right-hand side. Now those warthogs are going to be the world's largest burrowing mammal. Like I said, they're going to reach upwards of about 300 pounds at full adulthood. Those warthogs do also have 2 sets of tusks, one for burrowing and eating, and the other one is going to be for defending themselves.
There's one. He's just,
you might notice there's ostrich eggs here to the right-hand side. Now, I know we didn't see any ostriches, but that is the communal nest of ostrich eggs. One single ostrich egg is going to weigh about 3 pounds and be the size of nearly 2 dozen chicken eggs. Now, a communal nest of ostrich eggs, just like you saw there, is going to be so strong that an average-sized human could stand on that pile of ostrich eggs, not even put a crack in their shell. I like to say that is a pretty mighty egg for a pretty mighty bird. Making our way out of the savannah and into Magadi Glen. The Magadi Glen is home to the warden here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. This is where he does a little bit of conservation education, keeps a watchful eye on everything going on the reserve. Also kept nice and well accompanied by the Nigerian dwarf goats. Now the Nigerian dwarf goats are only going to get to be about 3 feet tall at full adulthood. Despite their smaller size, they are going to play a very big role in keeping that symbiotic or mutual relationship between animals and humans. They do produce a very rich and nutritious milk that will be gathered up by farmers and villagers, then dispensed throughout the entire town. And those farmers and villagers will keep those Nigerian dwarf goats nice and safe, just like how the warden's doing here on the reserve. Now, friends, throughout the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, Disney's Animal Kingdom, and the Walt Disney World Resort, our main goal is to protect the animals here on property and those in the wild with help from the Disney Conservation Fund. Now, the Disney Conservation Fund is used for a bunch of different things like rehabilitation of sick or injured animals back out into their natural living environments, conservation education about those critically endangered or threatened species, and habitat cleanups like cleaning plastic and debris out of oceans and bodies of water. You know, we started the Conservation Fund here at Disney's Animal Kingdom or online at disney.com/conservation. One way that you can contribute to cause every single day of your life is by simply reducing, reusing, and recycling things like paper, plastic, and aluminum, making sure that these recyclable materials do end up in the correct disposable areas and not out in the wild where they can be harmful to the animals that live there. Again, us as humans are going to be those animals' biggest advocates and their biggest supporters. My friends, as we are getting ready to pull up to the unload dock, go and start checking those rows, making sure that you have everything and everyone that you brought on board with you. Now, friends, here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye, as it is far too sad and far too final. So what we're going to say instead is kwa.